Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the July 10th edition of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Jake Hughes, and alongside with me in separate rooms this week, the old man. Old man, how the hell are you doing?
I am doing grand. That was a different opening.
No, that's always that's what I've been doing for like the last 3 months.
No, but like usually we have ourselves talking during the opening, and this time it was just music.
Oh yeah, just music because technology and Jake got along very well today. So
Oh, is that what you were talking about? Okay.
yes.
I
Normally there's a
liked it.
clip of
It was
something in
good.
there.
It was really well done.
But we have a lot to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
I mean, there's a week in football. There was a couple things, but the first thing I want to talk about, and I want to get if anyone's watching right now, as people are loading in, they're clicking the link in the CFL chatter just to see what idiotic ideas the Hughes Sports Podcast has. The CFL Power Rankings. I've got them made.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are this week. I haven't talked to you about a single position, about anything.
And you know what? I intentionally. Could you hear that rumble?
No.
Oh, good. It's just so everybody knows if I go off air, it's because the house fell down in the storm we're going to have here.
Or he hit a button on his computer and will rejoin in 30 seconds.
One of the two usually happens. I intentionally didn't ask you about it this week because I wanted to wait and be surprised with everybody else this week.
Yes. So again, if you're listening right now, comment down below, and I'll bring it up multiple times throughout the show. Comment down below where you're from and who you think the number one team is. We'll share a couple at the end of the.
Can I comment?
You can comment all you want, old man.
Can I put it in the chat?
Yeah, of course. Type away. We'll go through a couple of the guesses right before we reveal the CFL Power Rankings.
There we go.
I think it's kind of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it the last few weeks. People seem to think I take myself very seriously as a power rankings journalist.
Well, you are like the professional power ranker of the CFL. You're like the official CFL power ranking of all time.
Well, I mean, yes, but at the same time, I just know how to use like photo editing software, like Canva. It's so completely free to use.
The reason Jake got to be the power ranking guy is because he knows how to use Canva. I don't.
That's literally the only reason.
And the reason I write reviews is because I know how to use Word. Not that Jake doesn't know how to use Word, but I don't know how to use Canva.
But also, not just that, you also watch 90% of the games.
True enough.
I am lucky if I watch 50% of the games because I am a very busy person. I'm super busy and I got so many things to do and like sleep all weekend because someone got me sick.
Are you saying that I got you sick?
I'm saying your road trip.
You damn near killed me on the road trip. What are you talking about?
Okay, so folks, if you didn't know, you didn't see, this past week on Wednesday, we went to AEW Dynamite. It was live in Edmonton.
Sorry, this is bugging me. Keep talking.
And we go up to Edmonton. I take the day off work. The old man takes the day off work. We go up to Edmonton, and here I am naively thinking we're going to wake up early. We're going to go visit my sister who just had a baby, the newest addition to the, I guess, not really Hughes family, but the extended Hughes family. You'll get in trouble. But again, naively, I thought, okay, we'll go wake up early, like 6 o'clock, get to where we're going by about 9 or 10. All right. I have an alarm set for tomorrow at 6 a.m. according to Google. I don't know if you heard that at all.
I did.
So, we go to Rogers Place, beautiful arena, by the way.
Well, first we go to the hotel room.
We get to the hotel room. We have a couple drinks while we're charged.
A sketchy hotel, I might add.
It was not that sketchy. If you stayed at sketchy,
we won't name it. We won't name it, but it wasn't the nicest of hotel rooms.
It was a perfectly fine hotel room. They nailed the pictures down to the wall so you couldn't steal them. It was perfectly and okay.
And they did lock the laundry chute behind the locked
They
doors.
did have it locked behind a door. You couldn't find it. That's a story for another day. But yeah, so we get there and I'm like, oh shit, my phone's like only at 30%. Let me just plug it in. We'll like waste an hour before we go down and get some food because it's like 2:00. Guess it was like noonish where we are in Edmonton. And the old man pulls out a cooler. And I was like, well, let's have a beer. And one beer turns to 3, 1.5 each.
Yeah, I think so.
Except you threw out half a beer, so really you drank 1 beer and I drank 1.5.
No, we each had 2, and then we had the half one. I had to toss out the other one because I didn't like it.
No, it was.
I know it's alcohol
We only
abuse.
there was only the 3 beers that we drank. We only had the small little cups.
Yep.
And then we go out, we go grab a bite to eat, and we keep drinking because it's a vacation day. Might as well. Then we get to Rogers Place, beautiful, beautiful arena. Go take our seats. We're 10 rows back, dead center of the ring, perfect seats, amazing show. They made it way too easy for the bar to be like 10 steps away. So during commercial breaks, you could go grab a beer.
And we did.
We took full advantage of that bar there. So did a lot of people. I was surprised at how many people were drinking as heavily as we were.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So then afterwards, they're attached to Rogers Center, Rogers Place, whatever it is. Rogers Place. There's a casino. So we're like, all right, we'll go back to the casino. That's where we started when we got down there because we were there way too early. There's a restaurant in there. Had a couple drinks and made some friends from Fort McMurray. Don't remember what their names are. So if you're watching, I apologize.
Really nice guys.
Really nice guys. Don't know their names. And they were going to, and I quote, a cougar karaoke bar. And now when I say I'm the youngest person there, probably like not at the bar, just in this group of 5 guys, I'm the youngest by probably about 5 to 7 years.
Oh yeah, you're probably a decade.
Yeah,
they're probably 40
like
and
if
older.
these guys are calling these, we're going to a cougar karaoke bar. I'm like, oh god, here we go.
Jake's expecting 60-year-olds.
I was not expecting a good time. It was a great time though. I don't know why it was called a cougar bar for any reason, because there was people from like 18-year-olds to 50 plus, 60 plus. But
it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden it was 3:00 in the morning and we were still drinking. Whose idea was it to go with these guys to go to the cougar bar? Was it mine or was it yours?
On grounds that might incriminate me, I refuse to answer.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. So you tried to kill me because I already couldn't speak. Then we went to a show where I screamed for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Then I come back and the doctor looks at my throat and is like, yeah, you got strep throat.
I don't think you have strep throat because my throat is really sore, so I went and got tested and I don't have strep. So I don't think
they tested you for strep. I think they tested you for something else.
No, it was like the test. I saw the test thing. It said strep A.
I don't know because mine takes like 5 days to get results back, and yours was instant.
Well, because mine's better. Anyway,
again,
they didn't come here to listen to your drunken stories.
Of course they did. It's my show. They come to hear my stories. Little bit of Canucks news to talk to. What?
Did you say it again?
I have receipts this time. A little bit of hockey news to talk about before we jump into the CFL Week 5 review and a little rant I have prepared in my brain. Alain Vigneault, Coach God. V, officially retires with a insane career. Total wins of 722 wins, or total career record of 722 wins, 489 losses, 35 ties, and 117 overtime losses.
Oh, I was trying to think what the 117 was. You had me on that one.
Yeah, so it's confusing because he's been coaching so long. It didn't dawn on me that he'd been coaching that long, but he was coaching around when ties were still a thing. Ties are no longer a thing in the NHL.
Are they?
No. Haven't been since 2000, the lockout, 2005. You can't have a tie in hockey
Interesting.
anymore.
I'll have to watch that now. I never even thought about it.
Because you have the shootouts. You go to the shootout.
Oh,
what are you talking about? He's thinking football. He's so in the football mode, he was thinking football.
I'm thinking coaches with ties.
So if you didn't hear that because his voice broke because he's laughing so hard, he thought coaches with ties as in a necktie.
I was like, since when no coaches wear ties?
Okay. Probably and arguably, and I would argue this fact, the greatest Canucks coach. He coached from 2006 to 2013.
Roger Nielsen and him, eh?
The only one people can bring up would be I lost
Roger Nielsen.
No, that was, people could say that, and I would argue against that wholeheartedly. His team was not supposed to make a run. They got lucky. Iron Mike.
As far as good coaches, I mean, he revolutionized the game. Easy for me to say. With video, and they called him Captain Video. He was the first coach to create the video room.
I don't disagree with that, but if you look at
and what else is he famous for?
Surrendering to the referees after Tiger Williams got a penalty.
So peeps. When you hear people tell you, "Oh, we started this white flag thing," or "We started this white flag thing," you can look them in the eye and you can say, Vancouver hasn't done a whole lot in this damn league, but that's the one thing we have that we can hang our hats on, is we invented the white towel.
We did. Tied it to a stick to surrender to the referees, and then without his knowledge, staff members put white towels on the bench behind the cameras. It was not the entire arena. It was just the bench behind the cameras behind him.
Yeah.
And then the game after that, the entire stadium had them because people started whipping them around.
Well, what had happened is a guy, entrepreneur named Butts Giroux, got the idea of putting the Canucks logo and the, I think it was the Rangers we were playing. It was New York.
Yeah.
And he put their logos on
94 or
Islanders. 94.
No, 94 was Rangers. Nielsen
was it 84?
80.
Whatever that was, they put the two logos on the towels, and he sold them for $1 outside the rink.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Literally everybody bought one.
He
made a fortune.
That's wild. Like,
true story. Anyway, we're just way off the rails tonight.
I mean, not really, because that goes in line with, like, you got Nielsen, you've got Vigneault, and you've got Iron Mike.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with those.
Or Pat, sorry, not Iron Mike, Pat Quinn.
Okay, I was going to say top three. Yeah, I would put those in the top three. Is Coach V above Quinn? I don't know.
I mean, he coached a team from 2006 to 2013, missed the playoffs once. In that stretch, not only did he only miss the playoffs once, only in one season did the Canucks not finish first in the division.
They were so good, eh?
Like,
do you remember that? Do you remember the joy?
No.
Do you remember the hatred? Do you remember the absolute?
We were the most hated team in the NHL.
Oh, because nobody hates the loser. They're the happy losers.
Again, no one hates us now. It's been 10 years of mediocrity. But go back 10 years. Like, and Boston, people hate Boston now because they're that good. And it pains me to say that because that could have been us. And instead we went in a completely different direction.
And then we hated Boston for all kinds of different reasons. But
I mean, for mainly 2010, 2011.
Yes.
Like, that's really, like, people are like, oh, Vancouver just hates Boston. No, we really don't care about Boston. You have a visitor in your room.
It's not a ghost, people. That's the other half.
You got two visitors in your room.
Do I got two visitors?
Yeah, I saw them both.
There they are.
We can only see one. But in my opinion, Alain Vigneault retiring after a total of from 97 to 2022 coaching. And a few gaps here and there, but really nothing too notable.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the best coaches and one of the most winningest coaches, just looking like where he's finished and made the playoffs. Whether it be in Vancouver, Montreal, New York, or Philly. He's had playoff success. Yeah, let's do this now. Check in to HughesSports.ca. I just posted an article earlier today. A way too early prediction of what the opening night roster might look like. Opening lineup. And I say way too early because
I saw the title. I didn't read it yet.
yeah, way too early. And many people on Facebook have been kind to me, have been like, it's way too early to do this. I'm like, that's why it's called a way too early look. Like it's we're in the middle
title of it is
we're in the middle of July and we have no hockey news, so I decided to make hockey news. Nothing too crazy in there. I think a couple things that would shock some people, but go take a look. Tomorrow there will be the recap of week 5 and a review look ahead to week 6 in the CFL written by the old man.
Should be good.
I think so. I read through it a little bit.
Correct,
Brandon. I just looked at my phone. It's like, why is he calling me? I'm doing a podcast.
Doesn't answer his calls since he's doing the podcast. Yes, Brandon. Thanks for pointing that out, my friend.
Guy's a genius.
At least you didn't wake. He didn't wake you up like you woke him up.
He claims he wasn't sleeping.
Okay.
Now let's jump into the week that was in the CFL. I'm going to lean heavily on you because I watched 1.5 of these games.
I watched them all, most of them all.
So let's start on
if
Thursday night.
I wasn't watching, I was listening.
Thursday night, the Elks in Saskatchewan decided to play a game of how many rouges can you score in a football game and still somehow end up with a football score. The Elks lose in heartbreaking defeat because of just stupidity. It's the only word I can use. Like,
first, let's make people understand.
Wait. To the Saskatchewan by a score of 11-12. There you go. Now you have the 4. You have to finish the score line before you get into the what happened in the game.
But we have to explain what a rouge is, because I did some research. Because it's been bugging me. Oh, why do they call it a rouge, Jake?
Because it is, I believe, and I could be very wrong on this, it is a rugby term. And a rouge is when you kick. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I did research. There's numerous different thoughts on what it is. They call it a rouge. The one that's prevalent that seems to have legs is they used to use a red light to signal that the receiver in the end zone went out of bounds, and it was a red light. Or it was still in bounds, and it was a red light. So that's, and rouge is French for red. So they figured that's where it came from. But anyways, for Americans, if the ball goes into the end zone and you pick it up and take a knee, that's a single point. I wish I could say this was the first time I've ever seen this happen, but it's not. Now, who do you blame, Jake? Do you blame the player, or do you blame the special teams coach who didn't tell the player or wasn't in the player's ear?
Both. As a player, you need to know the rules. Don't get me wrong. I understand it's his first season, first game in the CFL. I don't care. If I was to go down and play in the NFL and I didn't know that I needed 2 feet in to make a catch, and I made a catch and I only had 1 foot in, and then I argued that it should be a catch, I'm an idiot. The coach should be the one yelling at my ear the entire time in practice, every single chance. Hey, if we're saying this, this means this.
Now, it's how much time left on the clock? 1 minute and something left on the clock. The special teams is getting ready out in the field. Would you not think the coach of that special teams would be grabbing the returners and saying, if this ball ends up in the end zone, what do? You kick it. You kick it out because you don't want to concede that single point.
I was gonna say, if you have, to me, it's you have two options if the ball goes into the end zone. One, you kick it out. Problem with that is there's a chance that they return it or they kick it again and it goes through. Two, if I'm correct on this, he had an opportunity to just run it out to the 1 yard line and step out of bounds. That's all you needed to do.
He stepped aside and let it roll into the end zone.
Like,
he could have stopped it on the 4 yard line, 5 yard line. Like,
yeah.
I get it. I get it. Like Jake said, you're a rookie. You're an American. I don't give a flying fuckles. You're playing a Canadian game. Know the damn rules before you play the game. It's. I made a reference. I was on the Rod Peterson show as a guest co-host, and I made a reference and I said it's not elk season this year. Making a reference to hunting, but nobody got it. So now I have to explain that because nobody understood it.
Like, there's just
but it's
no.
Not.
There's no, like, you have no nothing. Like, there's not a nothing.
Your coach got a penalty for being on the field.
Now let's talk about that, because I heard your conversation with Rod Peterson this morning. Clearly, he has an issue with one Wally Buono.
Oh, you think?
You
think I have an issue with Mr. Wally Buono?
All I know is from what I hear from him on his show.
Him and Wally didn't get along when Rod was voice of the Riders.
Probably because Wally was never a Rider guy.
Well, yeah, and they were the enemy coming into town.
100%, I get that.
And Rod stirred the shit up. That was his job.
100%. He for all in not even far all, he was a propaganda machine for the Rough Riders.
Who came up
just
with
like every play-by-play is?
Who came up with Canada's team? Rod Peterson. Yeah. Whose idea was it to put billboards up in the opposing team's cities? Rod Peterson. Like, Rod was, or and still is, a marketing genius. I hope he's not watching, because if he heard that, he's never going to let him live that one down. But he's really extremely smart when it comes to this stuff. So Wally didn't like him. Of course Wally didn't. They got along afterwards. They met again and they got along, but anyway, yeah.
But this is a rule that it just makes no sense to me. Like, the rule doesn't make no sense to me. How does a coach who's been in the league as long as Chris Jones has absent-mindedly during a play walk into the middle, like walk towards the field?
Well, if you watched, did you watch the game?
No, I heard about it, and
he didn't move. He was standing on the white line. He was on the white line, not in front of it, not behind it. He has to be 1 yard behind it, as you know.
Yes.
So he's standing on the white line, and I'm going to get up and do this. He's standing like this, and the referee comes and whack! And it was like, I think the ref did more than once during the game and said, you got to back up.
I can tell you for a fact, the referee warned him probably half a dozen times.
And because the referee, he ran into him and at him, he's grabbing his flag. And I was like, you dumb. It's like, and the Elks have more trouble than just on the field. It's a culture thing.
And like, we're now sitting Monday evening. How has there not been a press release saying coach has been fired, the coach has decided to move up to GM and walk away from the coaching position? How has there not been a press release from the Elks head front office coming to something saying, look, we know this looks really bad. We're the only 0-5 team. We're the only team to not have a win at all this year. And we're just going to stay quiet, and we're going to have terrible penalties. We're going to lose on the worst way you could possibly lose a football game, by not knowing the rules. And like I say, I know the ref warned Chris Jones. I don't know who the official was who threw the flag.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that every single game that I officiate at the amateur level, it's 7 to 10 times a game that I'm looking at the official or the coach or the other players or someone on the sideline saying, guys, give us a yard. We need a yard. Give us a yard. And they're, don't get me wrong, they're usually pretty good. Yeah, no worries. Give us a yard. And then eventually everyone moves forward again, and you got to remind them.
It's
Now,
part of it happens.
but I get it. You're in the game. You've been warned that many times. You got to know that the guy's been like, hey, this is your last warning. I have to throw a flag on this. Because that would be the conversation I like. And I'm saying it. This is the conversation I would have with a coach. Be like, coach, I get it. You're in the game. You got to take one big step back. Next time you're there, I have to throw the flag.
It's pretty simple. I mean, it's just, and when you look at the whole team, you've got to look at it. It's a trickle down effect from the bottom. It's dysfunctional. It's not working the way they're doing it. Now, having said that, game season, they're 0-5. I remember in 0-5.
You brought this up last time.
2011.
But that team was playing in games that were 11-12,
Yeah.
where they would kick that ball out of the end zone. The other team would pick it up, kick it back. We'd kick it back. And then on the third kick, it would go through the end zone. There's nothing you can do to defend that.
And
there's a difference between a structured loss and whatever the hell's going on in the Elks outfit right now.
The biggest difference between the BC Lions 0-5 and the the Elks 0-5, I almost did it. One, BC was losing, like you said, by 1 point, but it would be literally 32-31, 45-44. Like, they were high scoring games.
Where
what did
the
they
Lions
have?
would lose on a last second Hail Mary or something.
Well, because we had that quarterback. We had Lule, right?
Yep.
The Alchemos. That's Brandon Ulrich
The
just renamed Edmonton's teams to the Alchemos. I like it.
Maybe they'll have some more success after this.
What's that?
Maybe they'll have more success after this name change.
When you look at Edmonton, has it been at like 5 different starting quarterbacks almost? It seems like every game there's a new freaking quarterback.
They need to pick one and go and run with them. Because all of these quarterbacks they have, except for I think Trey Ford, is young.
Yes.
And I mean, Trey Ford, in my opinion, should be starting against the Ticats on Thursday. Like, you have to do something. Again, if you're not going to fire your coach, if you're not going to fire your offensive coordinator, you have to do something to show the team and everyone that you're willing to make changes.
I guess the question's going to come down to who's willing to fall on their sword, because somebody's going to fall on the sword.
Well, it's not Chris Jones. He would have already. Is it Giroy? Are they going to send Giroy out to slaughter? Are they going to fire the McAdoo, the offensive coordinator? Like, if Chris Jones was going to fall on the sword, he would have already. He's not
Yes.
He's not going to fire his friends, clearly.
Nope.
Because, and we listened to the Edmonton broadcast on the way home from Lloyd, and they were preaching that this is a boring team. This team doesn't even seem to be trying.
I would go as far as to say is I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the office on Monday morning or Friday morning, because this game was Thursday, and heard the poop hit the walls, because as a radio announcer, TV's different. As a radio announcer, you're working for the team. And in no time are you supposed to dish on the team. That's one of the things.
I don't think they were dishing on the team. Like, they were just...
Well, they were.
They were commenting on things. Why are you throwing a 2-yard pass on 2nd and 10?
They shouldn't... I'm not saying it's wrong to make those comments. I think they should be allowed to, because they're supposed to be reporters. But they're not allowed to. They're owned by the team.
As Brandon Ulrich says, maybe this is like how the Oilers rebuild. Just give it 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean, if you stuck long enough in the NHL, eventually you're going to get a superstar. That's how the league is designed.
Yes.
That's not how the league's designed in the CFL. I'm sorry,
Nope.
Chris Jones, he might have been one of the greatest coaches. He's missing something.
Yeah.
Because I can see something's missing. You can see something's missing. Rod Peterson's talked about how something's missing. The TSN broadcast booth is talking about it. The panel at the halftime is talking about it.
Everybody is talking about it except
the Edmonton Elks head office.
They're just not talking.
I mean, smart on them. If you don't talk, you can't say anything stupid.
Well, and at this point, what do they say? I mean, what do you say? It's like, oops, we're sorry. We're going to try to do better.
Hey, we came out. We thought we had a really good team and a really good plan. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way we thought. We're evaluating all of our options, and we'll have an answer for our fans by this time.
And that has to come right from the top. That
has to come from the owner. That has to come from
Chew.
What's his name? Chew.
Chew.
He should, whether it's a press conference, if he's not comfortable in front of the camera, a press release, put out something.
Something. I agree. Hell, make a tweet. That's the way things are done now.
Or threads.
Threads
are, one of the two. Also, okay, we need to go off on one slight tangent here. Tangent. I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have my personal account, and then I have the Hughes Sports Podcast account, which I'm terrible for posting on. I don't post on Instagram to begin with. However, when you create a Threads account, you can log in with your Instagram account. So I signed up with Threads, blah, blah, blah. I signed up for my personal account. Cool. All right, it's like Twitter, but, not Twitter, and Zuckerberg owns all my data. Whatever. Then I was like, oh, I'll make a Hughes Sports Threads account. If there's anyone out there who can understand how you can make a second account on Threads without having to completely log yourself out and log yourself back in, please let me know. Because you can do it with Instagram, you can do it with Twitter, you can do it with Facebook, but Threads, whoa, can't do it.
Too funny. I tried to do the same thing for my other life, and I said, screw it. Now I'm just Kevin the Medium on Threads. So if you wanna look me up on Threads, check out Kevin the Medium.
Or you can check out at J Streams, JEH Streams. I'm there.
There you go.
Friday night, we had a very interesting game. Stamps walk into Winnipeg and get a bit of a thwomping of 24-11. I saw, and I can tell you this honestly, I saw 0% of this game. I was dying in bed because someone tried to kill me for a week straight.
I saw this game, and we were texting back and forth, were we not, at times during this game?
Probably. Honestly, and I can say I was so out of it this weekend that I could have seen half of this game and I don't remember it.
I think you watched the first part of it because the Stamps went up 11-1, and I was like, woohoo, let's go Stamps.
No, I did not see this game.
Not that they looked that good. It was just Winnipeg was dead. They were came out just flatter than flat again. Smurf Mafia is going to get really mad at me, so be careful, Jake. They might put out.
You said the magic word.
Muted on.
Did you know that you can buy a Smurf Mafia hoodie?
Can you? Where can you buy that, Jake?
You can buy it at Etsy.com. You can search Smurf Mafia. It'll pop up.
Do you have a picture of that we can pop up?
That would have been really smart of me to have a picture of that ready to go. Seeing as you said the magic word, but
you look, I talk.
Yep.
So like I say, they came out really flat. Winnipeg scored 1 point in the first half. And actually, no, by the end of the first half, it was tied at 11-11. Not showing by any stretch on teams. And then Winnipeg scored 13 points unanswered by the Stamps. To be honest, it was a boring game. I was funny because I went on our famous Facebook group, CFL Chatter, where they've made us famous. We didn't try. They just love us over there.
They do. They really do.
And made a comment how Winnipeg squeaked another one out. And people lost their crap on me. The Mafia put out Hitman on me. It was like, what the hell? And I was barely even commenting back. Comment back, and they wouldn't let me. They muted me. There's the Smurf Mafia.
Smurf
How
Mafia.
many
You can also
Winnipeg
get it as a sticker.
fans out that?
You can Smurf Mafia running wild since 2019. You can also get a little sticker that says the exact same thing if you'd like, rather than buying a full hoodie. You can put it on your car. You can put it on anything really. Your little bong set, your grinder, your PlayStation, your computer, whatever you sticker bomb.
When you sit in your mama's basement smoking the big bong, you can have Smurf Mafia. Where can
True.
they get them? Where can they get those items, Jake?
I already told you. You go to Etsy.com and type in Smurf Mafia, Smurf space Mafia. First two results.
There you
The
go.
hoodie itself is $35.99, $36, and the stickers are $2 each. Don't buy the stickers; they're very expensive. Buy the hoodie; it makes more sense.
And you get to support this great podcast of ours, and we will, as we keep moving here, we will be putting out more and more merchandise.
Yes, I want to come up with an entire line called the Irrational Fan line of gear.
He came out with a Calgary one, but we kiboshed it.
I don't think we would get in trouble. It's not a jacket. It's a hoodie.
You can't use that logo.
Sure, you can.
It's not even that logo. That's that. I mean, you want to talk about Smurf Mafia putting a hit on you?
All right,
These
we'll
folks
move on.
really put a hit on you.
I've met some members. They've been pretty nice to me.
So, anyways, it was a boring game. It was a typical Winnipeg game. This last 4 games that they played. Boring football. So yeah, they won. Woohoo! Move on. Next.
Next, we have the Ottawa Redblacks walking into Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton and losing by a score of 21-13.
There was a lot of hype around this game because Jeremiah Masoli was making his return 365 days exactly after that slimeball rider took him out of play with a late freaking hit. And I wish that kid would never play another down of football because he doesn't deserve to. I won't even mention his. Did in my article. I won't mention it online.
Is he still in the league?
He's playing down in the States somewhere. USFL, XFL, WWF. I don't know. Anyways, so in this midway through the second quarter, Mazzoli drops back and does kind of a rollout and instantly drops to his butt, grabbing his leg. It was one of those moments when you're watching sports where you just go, no. Not that I'm a huge Ottawa fan or a big Ticats fan, but I am a huge CFL fan, and I'm a big Mazzoli fan. I think could be one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
If his body held up, he could. Oh, sorry, I just pulled it up because I never saw it. Oh, instantly I would have been able to tell you what that was.
Yeah, and what was it?
It came out today, 6 hours ago, just around my lunchtime. Ruptured Achilles. He is done for the season. And so you can see it. You can watch it. TSN has it up on their site, but you can tell he goes to step back and his entire foot just gives out.
There was no contact. It was a non-contact injury. It was just one of those freak things.
Those are the worst because if your body fails like that, it's done.
Well, and it's the opposite leg of the one he originally hurt. So, and I know from having a really bad knee injury that you baby that leg and you put more weight on your other leg. And obviously he twisted and I wouldn't say he's babying the leg because he's a professional athlete, but he's putting more. Yeah, he's protecting his bad leg. And unfortunately his good leg just popped and damn, out for the season. Huge blow to Ottawa. They're bringing in 3 new quarterbacks this week.
I saw that.
I don't know. I like Crum. I thought Crum came in for his first time in the CFL, and he didn't do horrible. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ticats get their first win. Full marks to the Ticats. Again, it wasn't an exciting game. It was a It was an okay game, but it wasn't like I'm jumping out of my seat. Exciting
Well,
game.
and I'm finding that with a lot of the games this year that I've watched is that, and maybe it's just like, again, I took a long stint away from football where I'd watch the games occasionally when I could catch them, but
Yeah.
um the excitement, like the what used to be what I would think excitement for the CFL is just not there anymore. You don't have the Travis Lulay type arms, the um Darian Durant, Weston Dressler connections where you get 5 or 6 30 to 50-yard plays a game. They were talking about
Well,
it on the game last night between BC and the Alouettes. Cody Fajardo has the most 30 plus yards, and it's only like 6.
yeah. I think a big issue this year with the CFL is offensive lines aren't what they used to be.
I know.
Um, they're not. I mean, you look. The sacks are up by, or is it the defense is that much better?
I think.
Sacks are up over 11. Let me finish.
Yep.
The sacks are up over 11%. So there's one of two things is happening. Defensive ends, the safety or the end rushes are better, quicker, and the O line hasn't kept up.
I think it's play calling. And I'll probably take a lot of shit for this. I think it's 100% the play calling from the defensive side. You're seeing a lot more different looks and exploiting specific weaknesses in the O line. I don't think you saw that 5-6 years ago when Brent Johnson was around. He had
Yes.
2 moves. He'd come around the outside of you and beat you because he was faster and swim underneath you, or he'd fake that move and cut underneath, rip your arms up, and get to the quarterback before you could react.
Or there was 3, or he would just run your ass over.
Yeah, and yeah, that's always the third option. But looking at
you
Nets,
got a good point there because watching, I don't know if it was a BC game or if it was the Saskatchewan game.
Last night they Rod, I think it was Rod Black, really keyed in on it, where multiple sacks on both sides, where they were twisting and they delay, and that's where they're getting their coverage messed up.
Well,
And
on this
I
one
think,
particular play, it didn't look like there was looked like one defensive lineman, and then everybody else was standing 3 feet back, and I was like, "Is that even legal?" It was really a weird line. I don't know. It was one of those. This is weird.
but again, if you think about it, it makes sense with the how mobile quarterbacks are. Okay, we don't rush you. Sit in the pocket all day. I guarantee you, my DBs are better than your receivers. That's the bet you're making.
Yeah.
My linebackers are going to drop back into coverage. Everyone's going to stay back in coverage, and my 4 linemen, I'm going to rush 1, keep 1 in the middle in case you decide to pop through the middle, and keep 2 on the contain. Now try to run the ball if you're a fast quarterback. You can't.
True.
You've got
Enough.
I think, and it's been something that's just been in my brain a little bit, that the play calling for the defense has changed and has modified to the CFL game because we're getting a lot of former CFL players actually calling the plays now.
True.
Like
True
if you
that.
look like, and I'm not tooting the horn of BC, but if you look at BC's when I would say they're next closest to this year's defense, Mark Washington, you've got Ryan Phillips, you've got Davis Sanchez, who's up on the panel now. That's 3 off the top of my head that are calling plays or explaining them because they had that high level of understanding, and none of those guys are Canadian. They're all American.
Makes sense.
They've adapted. American coaches used to come up here and say, "Oh, we can run this type of defense." No, because a Canadian QB or a CFL trained QB will pick you apart.
Yeah,
As the defensive caught up and the offensive coordinators haven't. It's
well, something's happening because when you're up 11, when your sacks are up 11%.
Now is that like 11% after week 5 or what like at the same point?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've have all kinds of new people just joining us. So I just want to plop this up there.
Yes.
Jake is going to reveal his CFL power ranking. So I want to see who can figure out who Jake is going to put in first. And then, so you can put Jake and then who, and then you can put yourself and who you think should be first. We'll reveal it before the end of the show. So then the next 15, 20 minutes. But in the meantime, comment down below. You can comment on live YouTube and let us know what you think.
And if you're watching this back recorded, please do still leave a comment. Come on to the YouTube video or tweet at us. We are on Twitter at HSP_pod, or go to our Facebook and add us. Tell us who you think the predictions are. If you get it right on the nose, I might suspect that you listen to the show and then put your thing in, but that's fine. That's fine.
That would be that would be a Brandon thing to do.
That would be a Brandon thing to do, and I know he's watching live, so he can't use that.
Yes.
And then we go into the last game of the week.
The real game.
The Alouettes come into BC Place Stadium, and in a very weird game, and that's the only way I can really describe it. The Alouettes lose by a score of 35-19. I've never seen so many mishaps happen in one game. From a play where you're just trying to kill time to fumbling the ball to a blocked field goal and a blocked punt in the span of 5 minutes.
Well, wasn't it the same series?
It literally, they blocked field goal, that following series blocked punt, returned for a touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, or vice versa. Blocked punt, and then it was a blocked field goal returned for a touchdown.
So was Alouettes blocked a punt BC on BC, took the ball over, drove it down the field. BC on that same series held them and then blocked the field goal. It bounced into the air off a guy's hands. Somebody else caught it and ran it into the end zone. It's amazing.
The amount of things, a miffed punt, which I haven't seen in years, that the commentators, and I think these commentators are probably the best they've had in a long time at TSN, tried to blame it on the open roof. Now, if you watch that replay, and I urge you to, there's not a lick of sunlight on the guy's face. Nothing could be distracting him from that. That was just a misjudged ball.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna disagree with you. Not that I do that very often in the podcast, but if this is the best TSN has, these guys were horrible, Jake. They were missed calls. They were calling things that weren't right. They actually said at one time the L's quarterback, Fajardo, was his first incompletion, yet 5 series before he threw one out of bounds.
Not true, because, and I went back and watched it, and I sent you a text message about this. There was a penalty on that play. That play never happened.
Oh, okay. So
stats don't happen on plays that have penalties.
But they still weren't good. I didn't like them.
I think, again, it was
it wasn't Ferguson.
No, it was the other new guy. And I'd say new guy. He's been around for like 3 or 4 years.
Nielsen, I think his name was. Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's Ferguson, this guy, and then a gap in everyone else in the CFL broadcasting. And that needs to change if you're trying to bring in an audience, especially because you're using the CBS broadcast or using the TSN broadcast down in CBS Sports Network.
Oh, lots of good play-by-play callers out there. I heard one this weekend calling flag football.
But let's talk about the BC Lions and Alouettes game.
So this was going to be Vernon Adams' bounce back game. This was the whole intention of this game.
Well, and to really see where his mind was at, because we've talked about it before, quarterback is a very mental position. And he was either going to come out and throw an interception on the first or second play of the game, or he was going to not do that.
So he came out on the second play of the game, and not only did he throw an interception, it was a pick six. Luckily, being the CFL, there was a flag.
Now, I've seen a lot of controversy about this flag, and I want your opinion, because you're biased, because it really helped the BC Lions. Was that pass interference?
As a BC Lions, to the letter of the rule, It was illegal contact of a receiver.
Correct.
It wasn't pass interference. That wasn't the call.
Nope.
Pass interference, the ball has to be thrown to you. This was in the middle of the field.
No. What are you talking about? Don't just go on to Facebook and Twitter. That was pass interference. It was a terrible call.
It was illegal contact of a receiver. You cannot make contact with a receiver after the 5 yard from the line of scrimmage. He was 15 yards from the line of scrimmage and he bumped into him. That's contact. I don't know how you look at it. Was it inconsequential? Yeah. Did
But
it have anything to do with the play? No. But how many holding calls get called? It's still a penalty if I'm speeding and don't cause an accident.
is it
Should
illegal?
it be against the law? It was a penalty, no doubt about it. What I really liked is that would have shaken a lot of rookie quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks that would have shook them to the core.
I think now, and I'm going to give Vernon Adams 100%. But he's not a rookie.
No, that's what I mean.
But the time to review also allowed him to compose himself. And I don't know if you saw, that's what he was doing the entire time. He was composing himself because seeing the replay, they had to have been in his ear right away. Hey, that's a penalty. You're going to be back out there. Get your poop in a pile.
And he's very much a God guy. I don't know if you know that. He's very religious. And he said he went and he prayed, got his emotions under control, and said, "Give me one more opportunity." And guess what? He took full advantage of that opportunity that God gave him. And holy crack-a-moly, did he put on a performance. I really liked the way he came out. And like I say, it could have been a disaster. It could have been, he's being pulled after the first quarter. But no, went on to win 35-19 and really showed the BC Lions are the team in the West.
Well, and I mean, not just proved that. I mean, I think they proved that a couple weeks ago, contrary to a lot of people's belief, and have continued to prove that every single game.
Except for that Toronto game.
No, the Toronto game. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they sucked. They didn't show up. No, they didn't show up. But you know what also happened? Toronto fucking picked our defense apart and is the only team to be able to do so yet so far. Vernon Adams game.
We still had over 400, almost 500 yards in total offense in that game. 488, and again, I think it was.
And we talked about it at the time, Vernon Adams tried to make up for his mistakes by going for that long bomb.
Yes.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
And the more mistakes he made, or the more he tried to make up for those mistakes, the more mistakes he made. And the more mistakes he made, the more he tried to make up for those mistakes. And it's a circle. It's a cycle that a lot of pro athletes get into.
Yes.
Like, look at, I mean, I know we're not huge basketball fans, but look at the momentum in a basketball game. The final score will be 98-99. But at one point in the game, one team will have a 20-point lead advantage.
Yeah.
And then all their shooters will go cold.
Yeah.
And you'll see what they do after like a foul or a timeout. One of the players who have gone cold will take just a shot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time the opposing team will stop that shot because it's a heat check to see if the ball is bouncing your way or not.
Yes, I agree.
BC made sure that ball fell their way this game.
How about our new running back? Let's talk about Sean Shivers.
Shivers. You did this.
Shivers.
You did this on the Rod Peterson show. Shivers.
And I corrected Rod, and then I said Shivers again. Yes. And going back because it's Roy Shivers. CFL great, but carry on.
I would hate to meet this guy. I would love to meet this guy at a club. I'd also hate to be on the to be that guy who rubs him the wrong way at the club.
Oh my gosh, he is hilarious.
I swear, if you were told him, "Hey, you're gonna play football today," he'd be like, "Let's go. We want you to run around the edges." He'd be like, "No, I'm running through these people."
Now you got.
But you're 5'8",
5'7",
105'7", 109. On cleats, he's 5'8". and 190 pounds. And he's not fat. He's ripped.
Yes.
And this little motherfucker just ran through the defense.
There was one player on the L's. He had the long hair. Talk about getting under someone's skin.
Oh,
He was so in this guy's head that every time the guy was like, he was going off the field going, "You're a midget. You're a midget." Are we allowed
and
to say that word?
even the TSN commentators were like, yeah, like that's the first time he's heard that before. Like,
Oh yeah,
if you're going,
let's not rile this kid up anymore.
and then for him to have that huge run, so fourth quarter, he breaks through. Again, this play was literally designed to just eat up some time and get the first down.
Yep,
And he breaks through, I think, 2 or 3 tackles.
at least.
And then all of a sudden he's carrying the ball like a loaf of bread. And every single football coach and every single former player and everyone who's watched football was like, "Oh no, we know what's happening."
Including his mom.
I love that comment. But as he's running, he gets down to the 5-yard line, and props to the defender for Montreal who didn't give up, because he caught up and did exactly what you're told as a football player. Don't give up. You get your first arm in so you can take him down, and that second end, you come in and whack that ball.
Yes.
And knock that ball like 15 yards into the field, which shocked me. All of a sudden, the ball was flying across the way.
I was yelling. I can't say what I was yelling, but I was yelling. And then I was like, oh no. I loved his interview with Farhan Lalji after the game. And Farhan has got to be the best sideline reporter out there because he doesn't care. He'll ask any question at any time. And he said, so we need to talk about the fumble. And the kid looks at him and goes, Mama is going to be so mad at me about that. He has a real American accent, and I just lost it. It was the funniest comment I've seen from any football player, or for a matter of fact, any pro sports player. What happened with that? Oh, my mama, she gonna kick my ass.
Yeah, just a wild game because
entertaining.
I wouldn't even call it entertaining. If I'm Montreal, if I'm Montreal, that one guy on punt returns should be never allowed to touch the field again.
Number 1.
6 penalties.
Number 1 and number 20.
6 penalties on the punt return. And all of them were stupid penalties.
Illegal blocks, every freaking penalty. It seemed like every time BC kicked the ball, they were getting a 10 or 15-yard penalty.
Well, and
against Montreal, it was insane.
And when your team is down, when your team is close, okay, that happens. It happens. You're fighting for field position, whatever. But when your team's down, you got to be extra careful when you've already been called on it twice. Like if I'm him, I'm dreading tomorrow when you have to go in and watch film review, because it's going to be him, the special teams coach, and those 6 penalties on loop.
Yeah, that's and if you saw their special team coach, he looked like a mean son of a bitch. I was like, don't get him angry.
I mean, I think all football coaches, when you get to this level, have to be somewhat of a mean son of a bitch.
Yeah, but you look at some of them, like you look at Winnipeg's coach, he just looks like a
Dinwiddie?
jerk. No,
not Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Mike O'Shea.
Yeah, he just looks like a jerk. And I guess it goes back. I'm laughing at Brandon. Sorry. I have no idea what he's talking about.
So he's talking about you said top thing an athlete has ever said. Derek Lewis, a UFC fighter, MMA fighter, won a fight being interviewed by Joe. Just before that, he took off his pants. So Joe literally was walking around in just his boxers, and Joe's like, "Why'd you take off your pants?" The response was, "My balls was hot." And Joe Rogan's like, okay.
Okay.
Like, what else are you gonna say? The guy's like 6'7" and like 180 pounds wide.
Exactly. No, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought there.
Mike O'Shea just looks like a grumpy guy.
Well, he looks like a jerk. He just looks
Yeah.
like one of those guys that I think looks like a jerk. Um, but then you look at Dickinson. Dickinson isn't scary looking.
Have you seen him yell?
Nah, yeah, he swears and he curses. He has a
Oh, he
potty
no, but
mouth.
you know he's the type of guy. He's the upbringing of Huffnagel and Buono. So he's going into there and he's not just throwing a garbage can. He's pulling out all the garbage and throwing all the empty cans like at the walls behind the players. Then he takes the can and he throws it at one guy specifically. Like, did you know he's throwing things when he gets in the room where there's no cameras?
But he has to because he doesn't have that intimidating look, right? He tried to grow a little
Take
bit
a
of a goatee
take a
looking
take a
thing, but
I mean, he's an insane quarterback. Try to take a squished up bottle to the forehead from him because I'm sure he's throwing those, skipping
you're
them off
gonna
players'
stop.
heads.
You're gonna start behaving. That's funny.
Another
Okay.
thing everyone's been waiting for: the
Well,
CFL
first,
power. Oh, but first,
if people want to read our articles, where's it good to go, Jake?
all good place for them to go would be hughesports.ca. You can check out all the articles we're posting, including today's article talking about the Canucks and their way too early look at the opening roster. Tomorrow's article that's being posted at 10:30 Mountain Time of the Week 5 review. I had to see what week we're in. Yeah, Week 5 review. Whew, easy for me to say. Week 5 review and a look ahead to Week 6 with predictions from the old man and myself.
And I got it up before the game started this week, so
Well, to be fair,
I'm
now to be fair to you, you got the article up on the Friday, and I was
yes,
so wiped out on everything. I got your article up yesterday,
yeah,
so I went through
all
and made a couple
good.
changes. I went up and made a couple changes because you were like only 2 days late, and I was like only 4 days late. Um,
Did you
but
really?
yes, yeah, and then
That's hilarious.
on Wednesday, the day before the kickoff of the 6th week in the CFL, the Hughes Sports power rankings for Week 5 will be up there with an explanation for the results. So you get
Announce
a
them.
little.
You're going to announce them
I'm
today.
going to announce them right now. They're not
Oh,
going to get
okay.
the explanation for
I
them
was like, I'm not waiting till Wednesday, dude.
Wednesday.
I
Oh, I
built
hit a
this
wrong
up.
button.
Don't be hitting that button. So again, I think there's 4 or 5 people watching. Let us know who you think should be number one.
We
I
do
am
have.
thinking number one should be Toronto.
Yes, we have the Hughes Sports podcast saying Toronto should be number one. Brandon Aldrich, I see here, doesn't watch football because the Elks are number one on Jake's power rankings, says him. Well,
He's cute.
let's start by disproving Brandon wrong here. In number 9th position, it's going to be a shocker to everyone because if it was up to
No,
me, I would have them in like 12th or 13th at this point. The Edmonton
in a
Elks.
9-team league.
That's how bad they are.
The
Coaching staff doesn't know what
Elkimos.
coaching staff doesn't know what's going on. The players don't know what's going on. Pretty sure the owner's asleep at the wheel. So 9th place it is.
You know who I feel bad for in Edmonton right now?
The
The
fans?
media.
What
I
media?
mean, how many times can you say we suck in different ways?
I mean, the Canucks have been doing it for Canucks media has been doing it for 12 years. I have a
Exactly.
couple pointers. In 8th place, and no movement, the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
That's fair.
Despite winning, I don't think they beat a team that would move them above. Now,
Yeah.
however, if with Mazzoli being out long term, I was hoping it wasn't going to be long term. It's very easily that the Red Blacks fall below the Tie Cats, but time will tell. In 7th position, we have those Ottawa Red Blacks. Again, no movement as this far. Again, I think the team
you could flip those two. It really wouldn't make a
and
difference to
and
me, but
and I can see the argument. I just think, and again, this was written before finding out Mazzoli was out for the season. I was hoping it was going to be a 1 week or 2 week injury. So again, lots of things always happening and it's constantly moving in the world of sports. In the 6th position, we have the Calgary Stampeders. They're just not good. Like Jake
just
Meyer just isn't
not
the guy,
good.
and I don't know if they have the guy on their roster.
Not going to argue because I would love to see Stevens get in as a season ticket holder and make things interesting. The kid looks amazing.
In his limited places, and maybe like again, you've touted Dickinson and Huffnagel for being the quarterback guys. Maybe they
Yeah,
know something we don't.
exactly.
In position 5, one of our only movers this week, the Montreal Alouettes. Coming off a defeat against the Lions, they did not look good.
They didn't.
Penalties really messed them up. And for that reason, I'm moving them down. Because in 4th position, and moving up a spot where I don't have an arrow up, and see, this is why I always have to double check things before posting them, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I think the Rough Riders are a better team than the Montreal Alouettes, despite what the old man is shaking his head about. I truly believe that the Alouettes are if they were in the West Division, they would be below the Riders.
I don't know. I mean, the Montreal held Winnipeg to 17 points.
Yep.
We Montreal, before going into this week, only allowed 13 points per game. Montreal did.
Yep.
This week they allowed 35 points because they were playing the best team in the league, in my opinion.
But
I could argue either way.
How many points are they putting up? Yeah, you only let in 13 points, but you only can score 3 or 7 or 11.
True enough.
Right? Like you're finding ways to win, but I don't think you're a good team. And I think that's
I mean, I could have argued either one.
And I'd be okay with that. In 3rd spot, we have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Again, they won, but they didn't win in convincing fashion like they have been the last few years.
Well, then how could you put them above the top 2 teams?
So
don't show it yet.
Nope.
And I saw some Smurf Mafias going off saying that if Winnipeg isn't 2nd or 1st, there's something wrong with your power rankings. And I'm like, how can you do that? How can you even say that? You barely beat Calgary. Like,
yeah, who? Wait a second. Let's scroll down here. Calgary.
Yeah, 6th rank.
6th rank. Even by my rankings, which you disagree with, BC beat the 5th ranked team,
or the 4th. If it was like
by yours,
you know what I'm saying.
And Toronto had a bye, so you can't, in my opinion, you can't really move Toronto in this too far in this position.
No.
So are you
Toronto's still undefeated?
So yeah, so in their minds, are you moving the BC down after a win, or are you moving the Argonauts down 2 positions after not playing and being the only undefeated team in the CFL?
Can I go on a mini rant here?
You can do whatever you want. It's
it's
my show, but I allow you to it.
Fuck, if he was beside me, I'd kick his ass. How the hell can you allow in any schedule with 9 teams that one team has 2 bye weeks in the first 4 weeks? Make that make sense. Come on, CFL, get your act together.
No, I think it's the best thing for Toronto.
Well, no, because now, we're going into week 6.
Yeah.
13 weeks left. They only have 1 bye now.
Yeah. And look at the attendance Toronto gets on days that are in the summer months.
True enough. It's like BC. Summers, we don't draw in the summer, right?
It's hard to draw in the summer. There's so much going on. And I mean, Calgary, I think there's a reason they played away from town this week. And it's not because, right? You know what I mean? Like there's, looking at the schedules, it's not always.
I just think it's dumb to give them 2 in the first 4 weeks because it's going to be a long stretch now.
Their GM and owner approved it. They could have said, no, go back to the drawing board. But
so your top 2
between the BC Lions and the Toronto Argonauts. Now, the BC Lions played this week. They played okay. They didn't play great. They didn't play lights out. They played good. They played good enough to win.
They played good. Yeah.
And if that team showed up to play Toronto, I don't think they're winning. Would be in them, right? And that's what I'm basing it off of. I'm basing it off of how good was that Toronto team versus the BC Lions, which is why I have Toronto in first.
Yeah.
And the BC Lions
and you should.
in second.
Nope, totally agree.
Again, I can't put a team that hasn't lost ahead of teams or
No.
behind teams that have lost.
Yeah. And I mean, as it stands now, they're still the best in the league.
Yeah.
It's
They've
that simple.
when does
Oh, but they
Toronto
haven't played anybody. Yes, they did. They played the second best team in the league.
play Winnipeg? Until the 29th of September?
And it's only one time.
Oh, that's brutal. Why would they do that? I was hoping it'd be like in a couple weeks, because then it would be like, okay, Smurf Mafia, you can get shut up now. But
when does BC? BC plays Winnipeg again. If my memory serves me correct, when I looked this up, we play
probably
on
August 3rd, coming
yeah
out of the bye.
yeah
Oh no.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we play the Elks and then we play them. So coming out
So
of
it's
the
a
bye.
So yeah, I mean, 2 more games and we go back to back into Winnipeg.
Yeah,
that'll be a game to watch.
You think?
I think BC. Obviously, Winnipeg's going to be wanting to win. We'll say
course.
they're going to be ugly.
Yep.
Out is going to be insane.
Yep.
Smurf Mafia is going to be unleashed like we've never seen it.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
If I'm the Lions, I'm poking that bear.
Oh, wholeheartedly.
I'm poking the Smurf. I want Smurf blood on my hands.
Again, I think this is where the CFL really misses out on things and just making it an event and making it, yeah, last time you came into our place and we put you in your place. We're walking into you. What are you going to do? And
put up some billboards.
TSN will do this much. But if I'm the BC Lions media team and Amar Doman has a background in tech, he should be the one spearheading this. They should be going, like, getting everything ready now.
Yes.
You have a bye week. You don't have much content. Start building it now. And then as soon as the Elks game is over, you start posting.
Why not?
Build it. Because you know what? That's going to, like, don't get me wrong, Winnipeg's going to sell out no matter what.
Can we give them the rights to use Smurf Mafia and we can do all kinds of fun stuff with the BC Lions and Smurf Mafia?
I mean, I'm sure we can get in contact with someone.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Sure.
Maybe I'll just start tweeting and tagging at BC Lions.
How much do you think a billboard would cost in Winnipeg, right by the stadium?
Oh, wouldn't that be fun to put the Smurf Mafia?
Be like what? A couple $100 for a weekend?
It'd be hilarious.
All I'm saying is
keep your eyes open, folks.
Don't keep your eyes open. Don't look at me for anything. I'm a broke college kid, man. Who's 30 years old.
College kid?
I don't know. If I've called myself a broke college kid for like the last 10 years and it's gotten away with it, at some point or other, it's gonna catch up.
Okay, so that is Jake's power rankings for week 5.
Again,
going into week 6.
Tell me
prediction for week 6.
Well, tell me where I got it wrong. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me something about these.
Tell me when I'm lying.
Because I think you're full of if you think I'm lying.
He's riding the college wave, Brandon says.
Going into week 6, because we just keep going over time. Oh.
Hold on. Brandon, that wave crashed a long time ago.
Wow.
Okay, carry.
Going into week 6, we have Hamilton at Edmonton to start the week in Edmonton. You have chosen
the Hamilton
Ticats to win. I, on the other hand, was expecting an announcement today. And I'm sticking by what I'm doing, and I'm picking the Elk.
Because
I think someone's getting fired or someone's not showing up to game day on Thursday. I know it's a short week.
You think Chris Jones is not going to show up?
No. I think it's going to be the offensive coordinator who's getting the axe.
You think
Chris Jones will take over.
Tuesday. We're going into Tuesday, and you honestly think they're going to fire their freaking offensive coordinator when they have a game on Thursday?
Yeah.
Not happening for this game.
Have you seen how the Elk run things?
True enough. True enough.
They probably
Anything
fired. They
possible.
probably fired him and forgot to put out the press release. On Friday, we have Toronto going into Montreal, and the old man, I think, was feeling pretty good on something when he made his pick here, because you
I,
picked.
I'm picking the upset on this one. I don't know why. I think Fajardo out. It just came to me. I don't know if it's the medium kicking, but I'm taking Montreal. I'm thinking Toronto's due for a down, and I think Fajardo is going to be on fire.
You're taking a team that's coming off a Sunday game that's playing again on Friday, so a shorter week, against a team that has probably by far the highest ceiling of a quarterback coming off a bye week in Toronto. Wow, I can't wait to catch up this week because I took Toronto. I think you're insane for taking Montreal. This is the one time where I'm looking at you and I'm like, what decisions have you been smoking?
It was really funny because when I made that pick, I was like, Jake is going to be all over this one. It's going to be fun.
I saw it and I was like, for the first two, I have to go against you because it's insane.
For the record, if Brandon's right, average cost of the billboard is $800 to $5,000. We won't be getting a billboard.
Wait, now is that
How
for a
about
month?
how about we get a lawn sign?
No, we can do one of those. It's a Hughes Sports podcast on a budget. Winnipeg, speaking of the Smurf Mafia, is going into Ottawa on the 15th because we have a double header on Saturday.
Yes.
3 days of football instead of 4, and the old man's all excited about it. I don't get why this week we decided to go down to Saturday doubleheader. But either way, we have Winnipeg at Ottawa.
I took
And
Winnipeg, obviously. I think this one's going to be the honor.
This is you mentioned that in your article that I skimmed through to edit your typos. Yeah, I don't think Winnipeg's going to have a hard time. But I've been so shocked before with these types of games where Winnipeg could think they have it in the bag and Ottawa makes a game of it.
Don't get me wrong. I would actually love it if Ottawa won, but
I don't see it, but anything's possible.
Yes.
Anything's possible to CFL. And our late game on Saturday, Calgary going into Saskatchewan, another battle of the I think they're great coaches, but one-upmanship contest between these two brothers, because last time we saw a bunch of dumb decisions. Which Dickinson do you think?
The Dick-decisions.
Which Dickinson do you think makes the decisions to win?
I think I took the Stamps on this one.
You did. You did take Dave Dickinson's team on this one.
And
the Calgary Stampeders.
I also think this one is going to be a better game than most people anticipate. When you look at these two teams' records, it doesn't really show how close they are to each other. Calgary 1-3, Saskatchewan 3-1. If not for some stupid freaking ball play calling, Calgary wins that game. So then they're both basically could be 2-2.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think even though it's 1-3 and 3-1, they're very close to each other as far as where they are in their development of the rebuild on both teams. I honestly think this could turn out to be the game to watch of the weekend.
Well, in last game, these guys went into overtime. Despite bad called decision, it still came down to the final play at the last second.
And it was a fun game to watch.
I mean, mainly because both Dickinsons decided to be dum-dums, but
it was a fun half to watch. The first half was boring. It was a fun
I didn't
half
watch the first
half.
I didn't watch the first half. I took a nap through the first half last time. I remember this now.
I was at the game. The first half was boring.
But, and again, Calgary playing on the road. I wonder why that is. If you're wondering, it's because Calgary Stampede is going on and they would draw a total attendance of 25 people.
Yeah.
And the old man would be... Yeah, that's the breakdown for week 6. We keep doing this. We keep being like, we don't got much to talk about. How are we going to fill an hour and go an hour and a half, hour 20?
Well, if you wouldn't have spent 20 minutes telling a drunken story, we wouldn't have gone overtime. But no, you had to spend 20 freaking minutes talking about how drunk you got.
How drunk you got me. Your decision, not mine.
Oh, I twisted your arm and made you drink those drinks.
mean, I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to let someone buy me a drink and I'm not going to drink it. Mama ain't raised no bitch.
It was a good night. It was
It was a good night.
not a good morning.
It was a great morning. I felt fine.
Shut up.
I mean, I was sick, but I wasn't throwing up or anything.
That's
Who would
good.
be like that?
I don't know.
But that is our show for the week of July 10th. Again, check us out on hughesports.ca. Check the old man out and his other line of work at Cavalli Channeling, as well as his work on The Rod Peterson Show, which airs Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific to 11 a.m. Pacific. I had to do the math on that, right?
Woo,
1 hour difference really screws me up. We appreciate you guys chiming in and talking, even if your name is Brandon. And your comments are ridiculous and insane. Check us. We will be out here next week. I'm trying to think. Next week we'll be here live. There's no issues. Why is my brain saying there's an issue next Monday? I don't know.
I don't
think there's an issue next Monday, but we will. You check us out again. You can catch me tomorrow on stream at twitch.tv/JStreams here, JEH streams here. I'll be playing some NHL with some of the boys. Check me out on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, everything J Streams. The old man is all over the place with his tagging, so I can't give you all that. But check out the Hughes Sports Twitter and Hughes Sports on Facebook. We'll be posting all sorts of fun updates. Do you have anything else to add, old man?
Huh?
I said, do you have anything else to add, old man?
Pardon me?
Do you have anything else to add?
And with that, my friends, have yourself one hell of a week and enjoy the CFL because, boy, it's the game to watch.